Our seventh branding pitfall is inconsistent packaging. And I would say that Merlot Skincare and Orlando Park were falling into this branding pitfall. We're the only we're the only people that see the brand in its entirety, right? Like everyone sees a couple seconds here or there, right? So like I always like to say, if I'm throwing five different tennis balls at you, like, are you gonna catch any of them? You're gonna be like, oh my God, tennis balls, right? Versus like if I throw that one tennis ball at you over and over again, you're most likely gonna catch that. And I want to reinforce that mind share in you over and over again every time you see a couple little seconds and a couple of touch points of my brand here and there. Consistency really means trustworthiness, right? Like when I see something that's consistent, I feel like, oh, that feels credible. I feel like I can trust you. Also, another upside of consistency is it's like it reinforces my brand's equities, right? It reinforces that lead tennis ball over and over and over again. Going back to first day, right? Like this is very consistent packaging. This all feels like a family. It feels like we're hanging together. It feels a very calm, fun place to be. Versus, with Merlot Skincare, we're a little bit all over the place. And even just like from the products being shot at a different angle with like slightly different, like a drop shadow there, or some have grape leaves and some do not, like that just makes me go, oh, okay, like, do you have your shit together? So then also here with the Vineyard Goat, it's like I understand maybe it's like a limited edition, so it can be like very different, right? But if it's not that, I would pull a little bit closer to what's going on with your purple visual system here. Another thing that's kind of inconsistent is like this first crush. Like all of a sudden, it's like, is this a Merlot brand? Is this a brand you're endorsing? Like what's kind of going on there, right? Like even with the serum oil, same kind of thing. Orlando Park, like you kind of called this out yourself, where, this is a very inconsistent visual experience here from the logo and from kind of the spotlights here. It's like, this is a nice, fresh green brand. It makes a lot of sense with Park. Whether or not it's differentiated with for Orlando Park and it has an inspired why is a different story, right? But when I kind of look at all this different executions, like this looks like night and day, right? It's like, ooh, this looks like two different brands. And this one on the left seems kind of nice and might want to engage with it. And this one on the right seems like a bit of a hot mess. And you're like, it's a little scary. This just seems very disparate. Going back to first day architecture here, right? It's like what I like to call siblings and cousins. So across we have siblings. We all look like we're in the same family here, right? It's like everyone is related to each other. Versus when we kind of look up and down, we're looking at cousins, right? It's like, oh, the multi is related to the gut. There's a through line that's happening here, right? With the collection color, kids is yellow, teens are green, women's is pink, men is blue, from kind of the packaging format, right? It's like there's a difference in format. You can't confuse the multi and the gut, right? Like the idea and the hope and the dream is for you to become a first day family. You're buying everything within the kids line. You're buying everything for each and every family member. So I need to like also go, oh, like I don't want you to accidentally give your kid a multi when I was trying to give them a gut. Another thing to kind of also think about here too is like from a user experience perspective, like if everyone, the ultimate brand dream, everyone in the family is buying into a first day multi, what happens when the caps are off? Right? It's like, how do I know that this is the teen one and this is the woman's one and this is the kids one, right? So like using some kind of cue when the cap is off, whether it's like through that illustration underneath there or, actually literally labeling, the bottle underneath would be very important. So just kind of think about siblings and cousins. There's a lot of like nice through line that's also happening, not just the collection color, but just like the product name color block bar, right? So like when you kind of look at the multi there, it's a white knocked back into that light green versus on the guts, it's the opposite, right? But they're still related. So they're cousins, they're related to each other. For me, I don't think it really matters where the cousins go and where the siblings go, as long as kind of you keep it consistent, either the vertical or the horizontal. Right, going back to our tequila brand example, You can clearly see that these are siblings of each other. They belong in the same immediate family, versus over here, we have a cousin, right? So like, I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that. I don't know if it's a limited collection, limited edition thing, or they're starting a new collection, but even the way that they're talking about it is a slightly different format. That's right. 8. Lacks a credible reason to believe, right? So our trust in brands and institutions are at an all-time low. And this is actually the first trademarked logo. This is the first logo ever. And it's just that red triangle, registered in 1882 for Bass beer. And this was a symbol of quality. And the reason why this even came around in the first place was because there were other no-name beers that were claiming to be Bass, right? So then Bass was like, we're going to put this red triangle on there so you know this is a quality mark. And that is no longer necessarily true, right? It's like, why should I trust you? So places to look for credible reasons to believe is like, within the founder itself. You can go to the source, you can go to like the product and the results, right? So like from the founder, you can like borrow character traits, their career experience. Like, so I just worked on a brand called Mio, and they are a cosmetic organization brand, right? And like she used to be an organization and efficiency consultant, right? So like that's a great reason to believe there. It can come from your life experience, right? Like whether you're like um ethnically of that background of that brand or that product you want to bring forward, or if you had a healthcare or whatever it is, right? You can also like pull from your education, your kind of like hobbies, your accreditations, whatever it is, right? Like from trade school, things like that. You can look into like the source, like the origin of the materials and the ingredients, the origin, the inspiration, like where did originally get that inspiration from, and paying homage to that, and like creating a credible reason from there. You can also look at accreditations, like vegan, cruelty free, whatever it is, GMO, like organic, all that kind of like lovely accreditation stuff. And then from from a result standpoint, like you can invest in clinical testing results. I know those are very expensive, so that's not the best way forward for a small brand. Look at awards, you can look at reviews and testimonials. However, for me, the most important thing is the founder, right? Because like at the end of the day, consumers and people are getting more and more smart, and they're getting more and more aware. They know that like reviews and testimonials and testing and befores and afters, like those are all like could be bought, it could be faked or whatever it is, right? So like really, if I don't trust in the founder, the face of the brand, then I'm going to have a harder time. And you may not always have something to play with here, right? Like you could be a corporation that's been around for a long time. You could not be a small founder startup brand, right? Like you literally are a faceless institution, right? It's like, what do you do about that? Right. So I would suggest like either getting co-founders if you're a founder brand, getting a board of experts or advisors, and then putting their faces and their bios and everything on your site and your brand, right? Like borrow that cachet or get that neat accreditation that you need to like make yourself a legitimate expert, right? Like I've worked with people before and you're just like, why do you want to get in the essential oil space? And they're like, oh, we just want to make a lot of money. And you're just like, this is not good, right? So like, I like sent them away. I was like, I need you to get a board of experts and I need you to educate. Like it's a problem if I know more about essential oils as your brand consultant than you do as the founder of the brand, right? So this is the 8 typical branding pitfalls that I've seen over and over again. And hopefully this was helpful and then you don't need to stumble on them anymore. Ways to keep in touch with me, right? So if you want to hear about future talks and events, you can follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn. And that's usually when I'll post about future things that are coming up. I'm going to try to be a little bit better about it, promise or no promises. And then I will probably upload anything that's recorded onto YouTube through a comment chaser. If you would like to have me talk, please like reach out to hello@computationer.com for speaking queries. I would love to, I obviously love to teach, I love to guide. So I love to, yeah, but talk. So let me know. Other ways to work together, I know that everyone has pretty small budgets nowadays, and we're trying to do what we can. So I'm offering this Where to Begin power session. So it's an hour and a half. We really, really deep dive into what's going on here, and then will probably help figure out, like where inspired wide territories you can start playing in, what personas we can start playing in, how things can kind of start coming together in this hour and a half. So that would be there for you. I'm launching a down and dirty brand accelerator soon. So this is a expedited and economical brand building exercise without compromising any quality. This will be an 8-week sprint. I'll probably run them quarterly. I am keeping it at 3 people max per accelerator circuit because I want to keep it intimate. I want, you guys to really support each other and learn from each other from a cross-pollination standpoint. So it's going to be first come, first serve. This starts at 8,060, and then really you just need a 2K deposit to reserve shot. And then, it kind of goes up $2,000 if we want to look at packaging, and then it goes down $3,000 if we just need kind of like bare bones, right? It's like this gives you everything that you need to either like raise, pitch, retells, reset your brand, all that kind of stuff there. And then coming soon will be September, October. I'm doing a brand giveaway with one of my partner designers, work and company. So we are going to be offering a brand giveaway for anyone in the food and bev category. So keep an eye out on that. And we plan on recording all kind of the background conversations and the client presentation. So you have a good idea of what kind of comes into brand building and like all the different steps and all the different nuances that we need to like think about on a proper practical branding application. We're also looking for a partner to do this docu-series with. So if you guys have any good platforms or podcast or whatever it is that you think would be a good fit, please send them my way. And then last but not least, I am doing a podcast called Shitlist. So this is pretty much a like water cooler gossip. I want to talk about, the current state of work and what the potential futures of work could be, but in a more casual, fun way, right? Like there's so much that happens that's like crazy and crazy stories and all this kind of like sideways stuff that like just is not talked about, right? So we're also offering the option of an anonymity, say that word. So like you can talk freely. So if you would like to be a shitless guest, please send an email my way or give us a little follow. So when we're ready to kind of drop our episodes, you know about it. And then last but not least, on a more personal note, I am writing a chapter as part of the 100 Journeys book project for Asian and Loud. So this should be coming out, I think, at the end of the year. And it will be in digital, hardback, paperback. It's kind of crazy to be a published author. The title of my chapter is White Alpha Male. And it kind of talks about how I kind of talked about my big, tall personality, this like white alpha male persona that's in me, and how it's kind of gotten me into a lot of trouble just because that's not what you expect when you look at a 5'3.5" Asian woman. So that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. Drop it in the comments below, and I'm happy to chat further. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, bye.